Testing, 1, 2, 3. We're testing lighting, we're testing sound, we're testing whiteboard. I'm gonna hold that there just for a second. Is that better? We'll see. Greetings. This is a public service announcement brought to you by Missoula Phlox, Missoula Valley's best known, littlest known, rarest of flowers. Thank you, Missoula Phlox. We live in a world inhabited by 7.7 billion people, a country inhabited by 330 million people, and a valley of 75,000. That's a lot of folks packed into one place. I share that simply to draw attention to the fact that this is the situation we find ourselves in, and we've got to share space with everybody. In this age of divisiveness, controlled by devices, I think it's especially important to get outside, to break away from those electronic bonds and engage with real substantive life. Nature. During the spring season, it's not surprising to see massive upticks in visitation to Missoula's local areas. It's beautiful, it's green, the wildflowers are blooming. It is the time of year to be out. I think it's amazing to see so many people out, and I encourage everybody to get out at some point. This video is aimed at how to recreate responsibly and safely and share this beautiful place with everyone else. Staying on trail. Always read and check in on trailhead signs because there's some specific areas in Missoula that absolutely forbade off-trail travel, particularly in spring, because of the fragile ecosystem that is present. So always read those signs first to see if there's any special instructions about the space as to where you can and cannot go. In general, the rule is stay on trail. This is a terrible drawing, and I'm so sorry. Staying on trail is especially important when you're visiting populated trailheads in areas where there's loads of people. One person stepping off a trail is not necessarily a problem if they're careful. The problem is at popular trailheads, if one person steps off, they might be seen by another person who says, oh, that's a really pretty patch of wildflowers. I want to photograph that, or I want to look at that too. They step off. Now we've impacted that spot twice, and maybe the third person and the fourth person, you could see the domino effect of people starting to create social trails that were not there or built intentionally in the landscape, and then you start to get those developing all around here, and it starts to trample down growth and vegetation and wildflowers, and it just becomes aesthetically displeasing. Now, exceptions to this, if you're out deep into the wilderness or woods where you're in a space where you're on a trail and there's a place where you can reliably step on durable surfaces like rocks or dirt, doing so may be okay if you are very cautious about where you place your feet, so long as people aren't following you and you're not taking that trail too often as to cause premature degradation to the soil and plants in that area. Just stay on trail. I know it's tempting with the camera. I'm always tempted by it to tromp off deep into wildflower meadows. This next one seems like it should go without saying, but based upon what I've seen at some of the trails this season, I think it needs to be said, and that is, do not pick the flowers. Don't do it. Don't pick them. Go to Bitterroot Flower Shop. This is not sponsored by Bitterroot Flower Shop. Thank you, Missoula Phlox. But go there and buy some flowers. Do not pick the wild ones. Don't do it. You may be asking, why can't I pick the wildflowers? There's millions of them. But in these popular areas that we're sharing with 75,000 other people just in this valley alone, if everybody went out and picked wildflowers, there'd be no flowers left to enjoy. The visual enjoyment is only the end of this story for us to be able to go out, drink things in with our eyes, and appreciate nature. That's one part of it, but remember, it's nature. It's an ecosystem. It's full of animals and plants that rely on each other for subsistence. Again, simple, should go without saying, but do not pick the flowers. If you must take something from Missoula's grand meadows, take only this. A photograph. That's it. You can have a two-dimensional visual representation of your experience and a memory, which is amazing. And be careful about geotagging on social media. This is a tricky one because it's not for us to be gatekeepers of places and say who can and cannot go there. But we don't have to give all the secrets away. The two problems that can occur with geotagging and sharing specific locations is a place can get unwittingly overrun with folks who may not have as much respect for the area as you do. The other thing, and this is more of just like a personal exploration idea, is so many places that I've come to love, I just discovered on my own. I knew the general area, but I wasn't guided by anybody or by a social media post to go to that specific location. There is an art and joy in finding those places yourself. Sharing general locations or no locations can be okay, and if people inquire individually by sending you a message, there's an opportunity to share the location if you want. Then you have an opportunity to engage with somebody in a meaningful way to remind that person who's messaging you of some basic leave no trace tenets, like staying on trail, walking only on durable surfaces, and not picking flowers. It's an opportunity to share those things with others. Another thing to consider when you're going out this spring is respecting local neighborhoods in which these trailheads live. When you're approaching the trailhead by car, go slow, take it easy. So many of our local trailheads lie in dense residential neighborhoods where kids are out and playing, people are biking, there's all sorts of recreation going on. So stay alert and go slow in those areas. And take care of the trailhead. In general, pack out all of your trash. Use the trailhead receptacles if there are some. I've seen a lot of trash in the hills this spring, which is really discouraging to see. If you see trash in the hills, roll your eyes for a second, be discouraged, and then pick up that stuff and just get rid of it and move on with your life. That's what we got to keep doing to keep this place clean and beautiful. Honor the parking signs. Park only where you're allowed, and if there is no parking, which sometimes happens, just leave. It may be somewhat of an arbitrary, but maybe actually an exact measure of a place's carrying capacity for recreation when the parking lot is full. That might be the sign to go find somewhere else for the day. You can alleviate that congestion, of course, by biking or walking to those trailheads if you have those means or ability or time. So let's respect our neighbors and let them know that we are taking care of their space and their trailhead. Ultimately, what this all comes down to is appreciating and respecting the natural world which gives us life, with all of those around us that we're sharing this space with. It is 2022. We live at a time where there's never been more people on this planet, and we either have to embrace it and find a way for all of us to share it and enjoy it together, doing our best to preserve the land itself, or we can live in a state of longing and depravity where we treat the land and each other like trash. I don't like that one. I don't like that one at all. So get out there, find a trail, enjoy the wildflowers, give a hearty hello to your neighbors, and take a deep, deep breath. Thanks for watching. Thank you, Missoula flocks.